Do not want to talk about it? You can smash a bottle instead. But is that okay? In today's episode of Venting Out Rage, let me tell you about the rage rooms, their uses and disuses. Broken bits of green bottles, red kingfisher labels, colorful shades of ceramic vases, and the bits of white tails that look like the design of a kaleidoscope, the more I stayed into. The baseball bats, which looked as if a pack of owls had chewed on them because they were well used for breaking things. The walls are violently glorious with colors, cartoon characters, and spray painted woods. This is what the rage room in Medavakkam looked like when I visited it. Rage rooms have been around for a while now, since their emergence in Japan in early 2000s during the economic recession. The concept of rage room is destruction therapy, where people can break things in a safe environment to let out their aggression. It is a physical catharsis when one throws bottles or breaks things with a hammer, but is it a sustainable means of venting aggression? Does it impact users who do it for fun? Arun Sripal, the owner of Chennai's first and only rage room at Moonbow Cafe, says he's not new to the concept, but was nervous about how the Chennai crowd would respond when he started. The rage room has been running for 2 months now. The traffic has been teenagers and youngsters and a small portion of middle-aged people, according to Arun. The NIT graduate already had indoor games in his Moonbow Cafe and wanted something different for the crowd. The experimental rage room was then set up in the same building a floor below with the materials. The materials are sourced cheaply and recycled. He also has plans to upcycle broken things into materials for the rage room itself and not send anything out. Slots can be booked in advance. There are 7 slots a day and the timings are from 1 pm to 7 pm. Since this has been an experimental move, Arun has spoken to psychologists about the business and says, anger is not always the root cause. It can be suppressed frustration, anxiety, sadness or stress that can fuel high and unhealthy emotions. We are trying to bring down the price of an in-house session to 500 rupees, said Arun. He explains that therapy sessions are expensive outside and not very feasible and accessible. Therapy will be soon made compulsory before using the room to ensure that things do not go out of the control. Despite the precautions taken, the activity at present is done without psychological monitoring and there is a high risk of things going in the wrong direction at the peak of the emotion. Rema Reji, a psychologist, tells the danger of giving into intense emotions without expert guidance present. Things may go out of their control in rage room as it allows the person to tap into their feelings, trauma and aggression, she says. She also points out that there are innovative client-centered methods of therapy where the psychologists help the person to get in touch with their emotions at a more balanced pace and intensity. Art therapy is one of the newer methods of therapy that adapts creative means of addressing, handling, and managing emotions. According to art therapist Meghana Girish, art therapy uses alternative creative methods to learn to handle the height of emotions in non-threatening way. There are methods of physical catharsis in art therapy like tearing paper, working with wood, throwing clay, and much more. In art therapy, these activities are only used to understand the client's feelings and not to heighten them. The focus is to learn to manage emotions and not simply react to the feelings. Intensive activities like breaking will increase aggression and also opens up new neurological pathways as it pumps up your system without any threats, says Meghana Girish. Engaging in breaking things as a fun activity can have a more behavioral impact that will be harder to manage later. Breaking things can also trigger trauma responses for people who grew up with physical abuse and this will send them down spirals. In India, it is only now that we have reduced physical abuse by disciplining children. The breaking and physical intensity can trigger them, sending them on trauma-powered spirals. The absence of experts who can help people handle emotions is a real risk along with the risk of behavioral impacts even when using the rage room as a means of fun. When asked about the psychological dimension, Arun says that he has taken precautions that will take care of the possible problems which will come with the experience. One person who comes there will not get an appointment for the next 3 months. There is also a questionnaire that users are required to take while booking the appointment. This is the present strategy, but he is also planning to include a 10-minute screening by an in-house psychologist. The screening will enable the psychologist to tell if the person can handle the rage room or not. One of the other rage rooms in Bangalore confirms that they do have psychologists as partners. Rage room may be a fun activity to try once, with the understanding that it's not a means to handle anger issues, trauma, or frustration. It's important to consider one's past and present experiences before trying a rage room. With newer methods of therapy emerging, there are more than simply speaking sessions. These methods may be more sustainable in the long run. This is it for today with Mahati Katta, and let's meet with another story on another day.